Have you ever worried that your loved one is picking up on your emotions, your stress, your lack of sleep, and it just makes things worse? That is what Helen asked me before a full day of caring for her sister with dementia. Hey, Christian Care Companion. Welcome back to Dementia Caregiver Support for Christians, the podcast where I help Bible-believing Christians solve the problem of communication and connection while caregiving, so you can preserve dignity and tell the truth in your caregiving journey. You do not need to do this alone. That is why I created the Christian DigniCare Society. For a one-time small investment, under $100, about a dinner out, and you will have lifetime support. There are monthly Ask Me Anything calls, a time for us to pray. There is curated content and a place for you to bring me your questions in between the monthly get-togethers. If you join before the end of this year, I'll welcome you personally with a 15-minute walkthrough of the society. The link is in the show notes, or you can find it on our website at thinkdifferentdementia.com. But if you're not quite ready for that, I invite you to meet me in our next live Ask the Dementia Coach. Bring your real questions. Get real caregiver support. You can register at thinkdifferentdementia.com/ask, and you can help other caregivers just like you by becoming a part of the podcast. Now, let's listen to Helen and walk through a calm and honest communication way that keeps dignity front and center. All right, Miss Helen, thank you so much for being here with us today in the Ask the Dementia Coach. We'll start with the question that I typically ask people. If after this weekend things went well, what would make it easier for you so that we can prepare you for this weekend?
Well, to be able to communicate, to know what how to answer her, well, just to affirm what she's saying and not to let her know my emotions.
Okay.
For me to pick up on her emotions, not for her to pick up on my emotions.
Okay.
And just to keep her busy, try to keep her peace, her calm, so she doesn't pace the floor.
Okay.
And she's not worried, whatever, because a couple weeks ago she had a couple TIAs.
Okay.
Her blood pressure, I think from being worried, fearful, whatever. And they took a CAT scan and discovered that she had a blood brain in her brain.
Okay.
So I'm just kind of, hopefully she doesn't take any those TIAs while I am with her.
Okay. So may I start with that? Because it's a good education for everyone. Have you been taught, Helen, what are the signs and symptoms of a stroke? So a TIA means transient ischemic attack.
Right.
Those are I want you to picture your blood vessels in your brain, a person's blood vessels in their brain like a garden hose with water flowing through. A TIA would be like a piece of dirt or a clod of dirt getting stuck inside the hose pipe or the water pipe, and it just gets stuck there for a second or a few minutes, and then it goes through. Okay? That is a TIA. The definition of it is that it is supposed to be less than 24 hours, the signs and symptoms. And not to concern you, but TIAs can be a sign of something more serious getting ready to happen, which would be a full-blown stroke. Okay? So have you been taught what the signs and symptoms are that you should pay attention to if you notice something that could be a stroke?
yes and no, because my mother experienced, and she passed out a couple of times
Okay.
when she
So
had it.
I'm going to teach you an acronym that can help you this weekend as you're with your sisters so that you know what signs and symptoms to look for.
Okay.
And the acronym is FAST, FAST. And go ahead, write it down. The F stands for face. So what you're looking for on the person's face is drooping of the eye, drooping of the face, like on the one side, not being able to smile evenly.
Okay.
Okay. Face. If a person is having, it can be a sign of a stroke. So face, so F, A is arms. Have her lift up her arms. Tell her to just lift up her arms, right? If the person is having a stroke and they lift up their arms, the one will lag down. They won't be able to they will not be even. So the
Okay.
arms,
So,
one will kind of lag behind the other one. Tell her to lift her arms up over her head and see if the one side is weaker than the other or lagging behind. Okay.
okay, good.
The S stands for speech and or swallow, right? So if she starts to have trouble swallowing, saliva just kind of pooling out, food not going down, or when she starts to speak, it is slurred, like she's drunk, or she cannot, and I know she has dementia. And I know that sometimes her words don't make sense, but you have a pretty good idea of what her normal is, right?
Right.
If she's truly like off the chain, not making sense at all, or the words are like sounds like she's drunk or she's struggling to swallow, okay, that can be a sign of a stroke. And then the T stands for time. Time is brain. And so, what happens a lot with a lot of people, and this is very relevant for family caregivers who are helping someone with dementia, is because we are dealing with the signs and symptoms of dementia, we sometimes ignore or forget that there are other things that can happen, like a stroke. And then we wait too long. And then we have permanent damage that's caused by something that could be possibly prevented, right? Or stopped. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Frequently, what will happen is a family member will notice something, and then the thought, and I'm not saying this is you by no means, but we think we'll wait and see if they're better in the morning. And then they have a
Okay.
massive stroke overnight, right? So
Right.
it is better to err on the side of caution if you notice signs and symptoms of a stroke and have her go to the hospital than to ignore it and think, let's see what it looks like in the morning. And then she has a full stroke overnight. Okay.
Right.
So
Okay.
her history of the TIAs, just keep this acronym, just take it with on a piece of paper. FAST, face, arms, speech, and time. Don't go to bed. Don't wait until the next morning. Rather go in. There are two things I never mess with, and that's the brain and that's the heart, right?
Right.
So if people have chest pains, it's better to go in. If people look like they may have a sign of a stroke, it's better to go in and have it checked out. Okay.
Right. Okay.
So that was the first thing I wanted to mention. So the second thing I want to unpack with you, if it's okay, you mentioned not her picking up on your emotions. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, if I don't get a good enough sleep,
Mhm.
or if I'm in pain, like it might show on my face, and I don't want that to show
Okay.
on my face
Is she
because then
sensitive to you in that way?
I would, in a way, yes.
Okay. Because I know you and your sister are very close. So,
Right.
do you notice or have you noticed? Because before we came on camera, we had a conversation that you are dealing with your own health issues and concerns. But in the times that you're with her, have you actually noticed when you feel less than stellar yourself that it is actually impacting her? Or are you concerned that it is going to impact her?
I am concerned going to impact her because I'm going to be there all day. Like
Okay.
other times I'm just there, afternoon for a couple, two or
Okay.
3 hours.
So you're worried about something that hasn't maybe happened yet.
Right. Yes.
Okay. Okay. No, that's good. That's good. Let's talk through some strategies for you for this weekend that you're going to be there. How long are you there with her alone?
I'll be there. Well, I think my brother-in-law's coming home at nighttime.
Okay.
So
But you're going to be staying with her from when until when?
probably, well, Friday morning, he's got to leave at 6:30 in the morning,
Okay.
and he'll probably be home about, I don't know, 8 o'clock, maybe 7:30, 8 in the evening.
That one day.
That one day, yes.
Okay. So are you spending Thursday night there?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Okay. And he's leaving super early on Friday morning, but he'll be back really late on Friday night.
Yeah, probably, yes.
And you're spending Friday night there too.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So our concern needs to be from the time he leaves until he comes back. So that means on Thursday night, you cannot be on duty. You need to be resting,
Mhm.
not visiting, not doing stuff, keeping yourself quiet so that you have the energy for Friday. And you need to possibly consider talking to your brother in law. He knows of your health concern.
Pretty well.
Okay. I mean, you've told him.
Well, he drove me down to this. He drove me down, and he knows.
Okay. So, what I think how we set you and him up for success is we need to just be very open and transparent. And you need to tell him that your concern, that your stamina is not what it normally is because of everything that you're contending with yourself. And you're willing and able to do this. And in order for you to be your best when you're with her, when he's there, you're not on duty, you're on standby for the next day. And when he comes home, he needs to be able to take over so that we can control the time that you need to be on duty. Now, in her normal habit pattern, what time of day does she typically get up? Do you know?
Well, they go to bed at 9 o'clock,
Okay.
around 9.
But what time, like if in a normal day and they were to get up, would she sleep until 8 in the morning or is she
No,
at the butt crack of dawn?
she's up at usually crack of dawn, and some nights she doesn't sleep at all.
Okay. So she's still not sometimes sleeping.
No,
All right. Is she sleeping a lot during the day?
I don't think so. No, she
Okay.
does. She does fall asleep. I think after supper they have the TV on, but I think she drifts off then. But most of the time, I think he tries to keep her busy
Okay.
doing something outside or whatever.
Okay, because sometimes what happens, and I don't know that this is the situation in this particular situation, but because the person who is the primary caregiver, your brother in law, because he has to get things done to run the house and, his wood carving and those kinds of things, sometimes a person will allow the other person to sit on the couch or take a nap during the day because during those periods of time is when they are then able to do things, right?
Right.
So it doesn't sound like that. But if they go to bed at 9 o'clock, she is obviously sleeping a part of the night.
Well, some nights she hasn't slept at all, but sometimes she sleeps 2 hours. Sometimes she gets a good night's sleep. It's 8 hours to 9 hours. It just
Okay.
depends.
So do we know what's causing the swings in her sleep?
I don't think so. I think it's, well, I think, well, she gets fearful and she can't relax. Maybe I'm not sure exactly, but she wakes up. If when she does wake up, she's fearful. She's worried.
She worries.
Yeah.
Okay. What does he do with her overnight when that happens?
Well, one night he decided to put the TV on. I think about 2 o'clock in the morning, and thought, well, maybe put the TV on. It would help her to relax and fall asleep, but it didn't.
Okay.
Another time he was asleep, and when he woke up, she was up on the bed. She was dressed, and she had all the lights on in the house.
Hmm. But she
And I
did not try to leave the house, right?
No, I don't think so. No.
Okay. So if she wakes up the Thursday night, he needs to take care of it.
Right. Yes.
And then Friday morning, you need to coordinate that you get up around the time he leaves.
Right.
And then we need to have some sort of strategy for you to keep her occupied so that he can leave the house.
Right.
What does their house look like? Is there a place for you to take her that she can't see all the busyness of him taking his stuff out?
Not really, but he might have all his stuff in the car Thursday night.
Okay. So maybe on Thursday night, a strategy could be not you being on duty the whole time, but maybe in order, and these are conversations to have with him beforehand. Is he worried about her trying to leave with him when he leaves on Friday morning? Because if that's the case, then maybe when you come on Thursday afternoon, you take her to a coffee shop or out just for a drive for an hour so he can pack and put everything in the car before you come back with her. So you keep her apart and he packs up everything. And then Friday morning, he literally just, you keep her distracted and he walks and gets in the car if he feels like it's going to be a problem, right? How does she respond usually when you come visit? Because I know sometimes he goes away,
Right.
you stay with her. How do you guys handle that transition?
Well, I guess I have to say after he leaves, she goes out to the garage, out to
Okay.
the out to the parking lot and see, or sometimes she goes out to the workroom to see if he's there.
Okay. But it's not a problem. Other than that she is doing that behavior, it's not like it's a problem. She can understand that he has gone for a bit.
Pretty well.
All right. So, okay, so we have transition. I don't think that that's necessarily going to be a big problem. I've been wrong before, but it doesn't sound like that's going to be a problem. So the bigger thing is, how do we keep you and her gainfully busy for a day without exhausting you?
Right.
Okay. What kind of things do you do with her that work well?
Well, we usually sing, but we can't sing all day. We can't sing all day.
No, no, but we can sing for very short periods of time,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Yes. Yes. Right.
Do you take her places with you?
Not use No, because when I'm just there in the afternoon, I usually don't.
Okay. How do you feel about taking her for a drive? Do you think getting her in and out of the car would be a challenge?
No, I don't think so. But she'd be probably wondering where we're going to go.
It doesn't matter,
No,
right?
no, it
So
doesn't.
if she says, "Where are we going?" "Oh, where do you want to go?" "Oh, well, I want to go there." "Okay, that sounds like fun." And even if where she wants to go is not where you're going to go, or you can just say, "Well, we're just going to go for a drive." Or, how about we go to a park? Let's go for a walk. It doesn't have to be a long walk.
No.
Um, in your sister and brother-in-law's, geographic area, what are a few things that are close by that are not going to take you an hour to get to that you can kind of put in your back pocket of things that you might be able to do together? Let's brainstorm. We can, your sister's still mobile, so she
Yes.
can get in and out of the car. She still walks pretty good. So we can say, hey, let's go for a drive, right? Well, we just get her in the car and we just go for a 15-minute drive. But it doesn't have to have a specific location that you're going. It doesn't need to be anything other than just taking a 15-minute drive. We can go to a park. We can go to a ice cream store and go have an ice cream. We can go to a place and have a cup of coffee or a tea or something like that, right? So these are all little things that you can do. You can go to a library, even though you're not necessarily going to read together. Libraries have such a cultural, societal expectation. It's kind of like taking somebody to a church, they know how to behave, right?
Right.
A library, you just drive to a local library and you take her in and you just, go and point out some books and you speak very softly and you find a picture book and you go sit down and you just show her some pictures, right? So all of these are things that you can do that don't take a lot of energy or a lot of money to do, that can just give you some ideas of things that you can do. Coloring is a good activity. Does your brother-in-law have some coloring books or some markers or pens for her?
Yes, I do, but she can't seem to sit down to do that. She used to do that when I was over there, but she doesn't seem to do that anymore.
But is it because nobody's helping her with it? Or is it before she did it by herself and now nobody is setting her up and doing it with her?
Well, I think he was doing it with her, and I was doing it with her. But,
Okay. So that may be a little bit of a change. And so even if it's just for a few minutes, because you don't need to put everything away, you don't need to get everything out, but you can just have one piece of paper with several different pens or pencils. And, even if she's not sitting, you can do it standing at a kitchen counter.
right, okay.
You can just say, here, let's color a little bit, even if it's just for a couple more, for a couple of minutes. And then when she looks like she's done, just point to another thing and say, oh, we need a little more here. Or here, we need a little more there. And so what happens with somebody is that they lose the ability to know, like you and I know there's a beginning, step-by-step sequences, how long it's going to take, and there's an end. And in order for a person to be able to complete a task, they need to be able to know what the beginning is and each one of those transitions and where the end of the task is. And oftentimes the person doesn't know how to do that, which is why they skip steps, right? And
Okay.
so sometimes all we need to do is just say, oh, we're not done yet. Let's do a little more, right? So the same thing with brushing teeth. Brushing teeth is a great example because the person will go brush, brush, and be done.
Right.
And it's like, no, we're not done yet because they cannot, and they don't know how long it actually still takes to complete the task. So we just cue them. No, keep going, other side, in the front, at the back, around and round. Okay, swish and spit, right? So we tell them those steps. So any of these leisure things, any of the tasks that you want her to do, when it looks like she has stopped, it may not be because she's not interested anymore. It may just be because she doesn't know that it's not finished yet. And so if we just cue her and say, hey, let's do a little more. And you can keep doing the, hey, let's do a little more until she looks like she's getting wound up. And then you just back off and say, oh, we're done now.
Okay. So,
Right? Watching a TV program, even if it's not something that she is paying attention to, if she is quietly sitting there, it's okay, right? Anything that you can do, you could perhaps consider reading to her a short passage of scripture.
right.
You could pray together. Cultural things like that, oftentimes people have a retained ability to do. specifically if it's been things that are part of their normal life from before.
Right.
So if she was used to those types of activities of let's pray together, you can just pray with her for a couple of minutes. But I think you're going to do fine. I don't want you to worry about your emotions
Okay.
because it's not happened yet.
Right.
And the only way we know whether or not it's going to impact her is if it impacts her. And you are such a kind and gentle spirit with her that, you could consider just finding or asking your brother in law for a backup person in case something, in case you really feel ill, right? Just
Okay.
another person that you have the phone number that you could call and say, hey, I need a break. For most of the part, Helen, do you get through a normal day with your own activities without needing to stop and take a rest?
No, no, I have to. Well, I'm a late person to go to bed,
Okay.
and I don't get enough sleep, but I do have to lay down and have a nap in the afternoon most of
Okay.
the time.
Okay.
But anyways,
Are you concerned about her walking out if you need to take a nap?
well, I'm even when I'm there, like if I go to the bathroom, I usually use the bathroom, but this time I'll use the other one. But when I go over in the afternoon, I use the bathroom that's close to the door. And when I'm in there, I hear her opening the door. I wonder where is she going?
Mhm.
So I tried to hurry, but
Okay.
they've got three different doors. So
Okay. So he needs to start to consider having the types of locks that she cannot open
so
because she is a flight risk.
mhm.
Any of those doors have a key that can lock it from the inside, or are they all?
No, they all have it just to turn knob or whatever.
All right. So that's a conversation you need to have with him because you cannot be on duty 24 hours,
No,
right? Nobody can. And are you planning on sleeping in the same bed with her?
no, no,
Okay,
because I sleep in the spare room and they have their own bed.
I understand, but he's not there.
Yeah, he will be there at nighttime.
Right. And if she gets up and gets confused and takes out the door and you don't know where she's at, that would be the more important conversation is, how do we keep her inside the house without him there because you're not sleeping in the same room?
So
So I think that's the conversation you need to have with him about whether or not he's worried about her going to look for him at night. And if he is, then maybe you need to, because he's not there, sleep in the same room with her. So
mhm.
those are some things to think about. I gave you a lot of homework,
You're right. Yes, it's
right?
over. What do you do? And she says, I don't want to do it.
Say, okay, and come back a couple minutes later.
Okay.
The biggest trick is always agree if you can.
Well, I tried that once. So that she had some clothes, like what you had said once. She had some clothes in the dryer, and this dryer had stopped. And I said, maybe I didn't approach it right. I don't know. But anyways, I said, let's take them out. And she said, no, leave them in there. So, okay. I said, okay.
And you left it, and then just 10 minutes later, walk by the dryer, open it up, and say, oh, we forgot the laundry. Let's put it away.
Yeah, I didn't do that. But anyways,
So always circle back, and always, if at all possible, agree, right?
right,
If she says, I don't want to do that, say yes. And do you want to do it now or do you want to do it 2 hours from now? If it's something that has to happen, right?
right. Or go for a walk. Like if
Yeah.
it's not
Distraction works very well. Nobody likes to be told no.
right.
Nobody. I don't like to be told no. You don't like to be told no.
No, no, I don't.
You don't like to be told no. So if somebody says, I don't want to do that, and you say, no, you have to,
Right. That just,
immediately we're like, ah.
yeah,
So if we say to somebody, they say, I don't want to do it, then, and if we have the ability to agree and say, yes, okay, we don't need to do it now, and then just circle back in a few minutes.
okay. So,
Okay. I hope this was helpful, sweet Helen.
Yes, it is. Yes, definitely. Yes.
Good. Wonderful. So, what's one thing you're going to take action on from our conversation today?
Oh, well, watch for the signs
Okay.
and just be in the know of how to calm her down.
Okay. And sometimes we just give them space.
Right. Yeah, right.
Just give her space. Okay. You do have my email address. I'm not on duty all the time, but if I see an email come through, I will try to get back with you. Okay.
Oh, well, thank you.
All right. I'm definitely not on duty at night.
No, I don't blame. I don't blame you. You're on duty probably 12 hours, most likely.
But I will try. If there's a crisis, let me know and ask your brother-in-law to identify somebody else who can be your backup.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
All
Thank you
right.
very much.
You're very welcome, sweet lady. Thank you for being in my world. I
Well,
look forward to
thank you for all your help.
people who are really benefiting from the community are the people who joined earlier on before they need it
Yeah.
and that have been active and are participating in the community because then they already know what questions to ask and they have a place to come and they're not constantly wondering, what do I need to do? How do I need to do it? So people listening are interested in tapping into or learning about the community. I'd invite you to just go to the website, thinkdifferentdementia.com. There's a link for you to schedule a 20-minute call. There's no pressure. I'll serve you regardless of whether you join the community or not. But it is a way for you to take this relationship a little deeper, a little bit more hands-on support, because really the research also shows it's longitudinal support over time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure. I would highly recommend Lizette. She's awesome.
Tracy, I appreciate that endorsement.